Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. Hopefully the stream is live and you guys gonna get to hear my audio and video. I'm waiting for incognito window to play it back to me so I can be damn sure about it. Uh, Hopefully it's working. It was taking way too long to buffer. So if any of you can write it down. Hopefully the stream is live and you guys gonna get. Okay, so I think it's working. You can write okay AV audio and video so I can be damn sure that all of you guys are getting proper stream. So let's begin with today's live stream. So quick recap. Last week I talked about like I had a big date on basically this Tuesday, basically on 14th. In order, it was a court date. Now there is a big issue with communicating with basically lawyers. Like they talk in lawyer language, so I can't understand it what they meant to say. So what happened? Well, it's just gonna drag on. Now, before that 14th, I had a week of almost absolute anxiety and panic. After that, I had been in a situation of like absolute hopelessness simply because I kind of realized that this case will actually drag on for years, maybe even decades. It just became real. Real as in like in lengthwise, time-wise, how many years I have to spend on it. So I was dealing with this sort of issue where it was overwhelming. But after some deep pondering, it kind of happened, and some people did help me to realize that I cannot take life too seriously. Whereas, like, you're gonna die at the other end of it, no matter what happens. So there is no need for over analyzing the future. You play your cards and see what's what. I do not have enough control about my life where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be the output. This is how it's exactly gonna be. That's not how it works. So there's a saying, you have a plan and then life has a plan. So right now I have to let go of the steering wheel because I'm not in charge, and trying to be in charge is causing way too much frustration and anger and resentment and things that are not healthy. So I have decided to let things go. Now, what about the channel? Channel will be fine, but I'm basically, because this 3 weeks have been like almost a month, have been like back to back, back to back, back to back quote. So I was like not able to focus properly in my work. But two videos will come tomorrow also, and I made sure that no matter what happens, Camera Tuesday is always intact, live stream would be intact, and a short video would be intact. These three things will be intact. Everything else will require a bit more effort, bit more love from my end. Uh, I have made some serious progress. So this was, just in case if you guys didn't know, this was my Mark 1 Fume extractor, very jank solution. So if you have watched my video, I have already talked about like what my philosophy was, how I designed it in CAD. And third video that will come next week would be, ta-da, part 3 completely finished. So I could still, as of now, I can use it, but I do not want to use it simply because it will need a bit more love in electronics. And I have been pushing it a bit, but now it's the time. I think from Monday, I can things have calmed down on the code front enough where I can okay, let's get it back to it, because I need to learn how to use these puppy, basically MOSFETs. The reason for that is those fans are super powerful fan, meaning if I run them at full power, either they're gonna blow up my adapters or gonna blow up my hearing. So I have to basically turn them on one by one. Another is then I have to use ESP32 to read basically the RPM data, then control the PWM output, and then basically once it levelizes, because it will try to draw too much power, it will try to ramp up to 7000 RPM, but it will not, and then it will fall back. So if I have a PWM signal, I can control what kind of basically RPM it goes. So I'm pretty sure like these fans are thick fans. So even if I can guarantee like around 1500 RPM or even 2000 RPM, it won't be too loud, but it still have enough suction. And because of the tight nature of this is very tight structure. So air is gonna be like forced through the filters and through the activated charcoal block. That is gonna work quite well. So the I do expect a good result where I'm gonna be you know, I'm gonna get some good work out of it, even with low RPM. Now, problem is I have to figure out how to use ESP32, how to read RPM, how to use PWM output, and how to activate basically these puppy. Now, if any of you know how to do that ESP32 RPM reading thing, do tell me, because I did try with basically an old ESP32, it did not work. The current ESP32 I have is ESP32S3. So maybe there is some difference, but the code that was working was not working. I'm getting way too much erratic RPM readings. So it's like 50,000 RPM, like what the hell? So I may try to put some pull up resistors in order to simplify the signal or whatever have you. So it's not as black and white as you might think, that you can just read the signal. Again, in my case, it's not working out. So if that happens, that would be awesome. But that's my aim for next week, and I have to let things go. Okay, Anurag Sharma, hi to you. Metallic Metal Metacross, hello sir, hello to you. YouTube guy, hi Anupam, I am Sachin, Mumbai. Did I met you in Mumbai when I was there? Like Sachin. Hey, are you that guy who took me to the beach? I think he was also named Sachin, right? I'm very bad with names, so I do apologize if am not able to recall you properly. So that's happening, and there is a new project that's like been. I've been learning a lot about refrigeration, like properly, like truly trying to get my teeth into it to understand it. And in that process, I kind of realized, because of this traveling, I needed my father to be with me. So there were three people in my car, and then the chief factor of my car actually came in. It has a AC, but problem is there is no backwards duct. There is no way of dumping the front air conditioning power to the back. There is no vent there. Problem is that the only way to compensate at that point is like a supercharge the AC, as in the front becomes too cold, and then hope that back gets cold. Now that makes front too uncomfortable and back barely comfortable. So we do need a back vent. Unfortunately, that's a thing that is only available in expensive cars. My car does not have it. Now there are certain models of car which is super easy to do, simply because the central console where you have gear stick is just one plastic duct. So you can quite easily open it up and just like put some pipes and done. Now, unfortunately, my car is not that. My car is basically Maruti Espresso. So it has a back end which has cover for handguard. It has enough handbrake, pardon me, handbrake. It has enough room for pipes. That's good, awesome, GG. I have enough place for vent also, so I can drill some hole, have some vent. Everything is fine. Problem is the gear stick cover. Now my gear stick is very complicated simply because it's a automated gear transmission. So gearbox is normal gearbox, but it has an electronic switcher on it. Basically, I just put a drive, neutral, or reverse, but all it does is like figures out based on the RPM, based on the load and all that, is like which gears to apply. So the box that is bit high, and it does not have enough place where I like easily see where I can, okay, and just put pipes here and it's gonna work. So it may require some jiggering in order to get it working, but that would be a very fun project. And not to mention, if it actually works out, it will really improve the quality of yes, I am the beach guy. Oh yeah, thank you, welcome. It's very interesting that you came in my English channel. Knock knock, hi, hello to you. So that's what I'm planning for my car. And again, that's how they do it in cars that have back vent. The most advanced thing I can see, they may have extra vents from the main blower to basically blow air. Right now, what I will do is basically use the on the feet flow. If you pay attention to any AC unit in your car, generally it has on your face. So in the dash, air comes out, and in your feet. So feet has a different place where I can have the vents. So I can clamp that vent and then push the air through it. Now I may need to put a small fan because again, I do not have that luxury of the air tunnels that are custom made for it. I can't do that. So I do not have that kind of like very smooth airflow, and like I can strip everything, put a dedicated. I don't have that big 3D printer where I can just like, okay, everything is custom built proper. That would be awesome, because that may not even require a dedicated fan on the other end to push in the rear. But as of now, what I can actually do is just have that, but I may need to drill too many holes in my car's interior. So again, nothing to touching metal, only plastic, but still uncomfortable. But a man's got to do what a man must do. So yeah. But it would be a really worthwhile investment to do, because again, anytime I have more than two people, basically, if anyone is sitting in the rear, it becomes uncomfortable, especially in daytime, because again, sunlight heating is direct. It does not matter where the car is. If you do not have cold air breeze directly flowing in your face, it does not work. Does not work at all. So that will be my challenge, so to say, how to solve that, and it would be worthwhile video. Good evening, sir. Good evening to you. Install a table fan on dashboard like the Omni van. Yeah, that's unless I can directly direct air from the AC vent itself, it will not do anything. It has to be directly coming from the heat exchanger of the basically evaporator. There is a tiny evaporator in your car dash below it, generally this size. So if you can take air that is coming directly from that, then it works. If you wait for like, okay, let it circulate, it does not work that way. That's why there is giant blower fan. It is circulating, it does not work. The only way to make it work is like if you cool down too much, and then the problem because the front seat becomes uncomfortably cold. Yeah, which is odd. It should not be possible, but it does happen that it becomes uncomfortably cold. Like it's just, and if you have to open the door, it like feels like outside feels hot, too hot. So you do need a vent, and that's why like all professional cars have professional, pardon me, all luxury cars and any car that is not bare bottom generally has a way to vent, have air going to the rear of the car, because once you can directly channel it, then it's an easy problem to solve. Again, even adding fan is not that big of any issue. So things can be done, things can be done. If I fan is it becomes an issue, I have this fan. I can just pull one of these fan again. It will make a lot of noise, but you're like, I got this fan. It's gonna pull. The front will become basically hot, and it will pull all the cold air in the back. It can do that. So, modding the car is illegal in India. Your view? Modding engines of the car, interiors do not go through that much trouble. Like, okay, I may be wrong, but I have seen way too many people doing this sort of modification. I'm pretty sure the modding illegal part is anything that changes the drive, engine block and all things. Basically, anything that changes the drive, not like interiors and lights and all that. So I'm not sure about that. My XUV has all three rows. Dude, XUV is an expensive vehicle. If it does not have that, that would be an insulting thing. It's like you are saying, oh, my Rolls Royce has good sound insulation. It would be an insult if it does not have it. So it would be my friend. I visited Paris. My second friend visited Mumbai. Me who visited court in summer. I was waiting for my consent. Oh, that's interesting. Possible to do in Alto easily. Yeah, there are some cars that are very easily the plastic trim that they have, the interior trim. It's surprisingly spacious. Like in case of Maruti Wagonar, because all the trim is in one piece. So you just plonk it, put the pipes, done. It has enough space from the gear well, it's not well, what it will call, gear moat, I would call them. I do not know what these things are named. So this gear, basically the shaft that is coming out in that section. So enough space is there that it's super easy to do in Wagonar. I did try to do it a few years back, but problem was when I opened the back part, that opened very quickly, no problem, awesome. I got excited. Then I tried to remove the front section of it. It did not work out because there was a clip that looked like a screw, and I was trying to rotate it, nothing happened. It was like one of those plastic clips where you're supposed to pull out. And I'm like, if it's designed for pull out, why the heck? It has a screw thread, matlab like that cross hat, pardon me, Phillips head stamped on it. I was trying to spin it. Last time I did try to open it, which again just happened on I think Wednesday, maybe. No, Tuesday, and it worked. So it gave me a lot of joy, and I think it's possible now. Although I think I might destroy that plastic ring. Thankfully, it should be a replaceable part. These two small parts should be replaceable if I destroy them too much. So let's see what happens. But I'm very excited about that because again, these are little things that actually take your car from like a very cheap feeling car to like, okay, it's not gonna become a Rolls Royce, but at least it's gonna be like, okay. Because again, people, especially in daytime, especially in India, it gets hot. And again, that happened only on this Tuesday visit itself, where it's like the rear part was like, my dad was like, can you increase the AC? And we were freezing in the front. So there is a reason for this sort of thing. And because there is a what you call valve gate where I can just force the air only on the back side, that also allows me an easy way to actually make sure that back gets cold rather than just recirculation. So that would be an interesting thing to do. However, I have to control myself and I have to make sure that I complete the electronics of this fume extractor before I jump into that project. I have a very around 2-inch pipe should be fine. Yeah, I don't think I have that kind of space. Like the handbrake section has a space, is that gear well part, that gear stand part does not have enough space around it. Again, I'll see what I can do and work around with, but it will be interesting. I have a lot of people have done something similar, so let's see how it goes. And I'm pretty sure your view on anti-consumer activity done by companies. I watched Louis Rossmann worried about how companies screw your customer. Your take? Yeah, if you just watched my recent video about capitalism, there are two parts of that video, both released on Fridays. The core component is that once company becomes big enough, the main issue is that stock market became the core driver for companies rather than the profit they were making. What does that mean? That simply means, let's say you are making, let's say you are Apple, right? So what do? You make a product. Let's say you make iPhones. Okay, awesome. Let's say iPhone costs you, all things considered, the R&D and all that, and bill of material and all that, $500. Okay, and you sell it for $1,000. Okay, that's cool, awesome. So that 500 becomes your profit. Now here's the deal. You would think that companies are focusing on that. Yes and no. Yes, they are focusing on that. Of course, they want that number to be as big as possible, but they are focusing on growth of stock return, because all the stockholders, they are not there for, oh, you are making profit. They are there for, you are making exponentially more profit than the last time. Meaning, I gave you $10, give me $100 in return. Let me be very clear. I give you 10, do not return me 12, 13, 15, return me 100. If that does not happen, a healthy company that is like, hey, everything is fine, everything is working, we have a good, what you call, economic exchange, things are working, people are happy with our product, they could lose their evaluation quite quickly in stock market simply because, oh, it's not growing, and that could have cascading failure. So that's why sometimes company have to be in what we call gray market, like SpaceX is not open to public. That's how they can stabilize it. Other companies have also tried, like Lockheed Martin and all that. Like there are some divisions where they're like, to let's just isolate it from the fluctuations of the market, because inherently market gives people addiction of this infinite growth, but that cannot be sustained no matter how big a company is. Like right now, FANG companies are thriving right now. So everybody is like, Facebook, WhatsApp, Facebook, uh, what was another? Microsoft, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Apple. These are big daddies. Now here's the deal. Does not mean these big daddies will remain big daddies, because here's the deal. Rewind the clock just 25 years ago. There were completely different big daddies at that point in time. There were IBM, there were Intel, there was Cisco. Now what happened? There were now Nokia. What happened to them? They disappeared. Why they disappeared? Not because most of them, like, just actually broke. Simply because they were not exponentially growing anymore. They reached a point where they no longer had, like, oh, you like, for example, if you actually sold every computer and you already have, let's say 90% market share, like Microsoft did, where it's like, okay, majority of computers sold had Microsoft, where do you go from there? You don't. That's why Apple had room to grow, but Microsoft reached a like, limiting point. Thankfully, Microsoft had played some other gambles which are paying off. Oh, Amazon, yeah, that was another fine thing. So like their Azure service finally started to give them growth. That's why they're finally touching 3 trillion. But here's the, even Azure has upper limit, because it will reach a point where it's like everybody who needs Azure service will have Azure service. Where do you go from there? Facebook is the first company that reached that milestone quite quickly, where they're like, okay, everybody who has internet has Facebook. What do you do after that? That's why they freaked out and they started to jump from Meta, and also they bought WhatsApp thinking they were. But here's the problem: once you do this sort of thing, you reach a point where returns cannot be increased anymore. And these companies, they do not actually have any profit model. Like Apple has a profit model. It's like, hey, we make hardware, we sell it, and we make money. And again, you buy apps on our app store, we make money. So there is a actual thing reason for this to exist. But how the heck Facebook is doing now? Like advertisement? Okay, okay, cool. What other than that? Yeah, because they're spending bonkers amount of money. So that creates an issue. So stock evaluation becomes a core driving things. And then we have meaningless companies. Not meaningless would not be correct term. I would say meant to bankrupt companies. Yeah. For example, you may have paid attention to the fact that there are a lot of small companies that just propped up here 10 years ago, not even 10, 8, 8 to 5 years ago, and they were like, they were doing amazing things, but they were always running on the black, like Uber and all of those companies that were like, they were not making profit. Then you're like, how the heck they are working? They were only expecting the stock value to go up to such a point where it makes it viable. But that's not long-term sustainable. That's flat out not long-term sustainable. So companies that are like, oh, when the why my family business also focused on short-term game. Why family business also? Again, short-term game is gain is very easy, and humans, again, we are not magical creature. We are not made out of hulululu and magic. We are made out of animal stuff. Basically, literally, our DNA is literally animal DNA. So animals are not a creature that are planned for, like, let's plan for 1 century ahead. We are not that. So you have to understand that's a fundamental biological limit. Like this puppy is not designed to think, okay, I'm gonna think 10 years ahead or 15 years ahead or 500 years ahead. That's not a thing. Only few people can do that. And not to mention, let's say the first generation actually thought of that. What about after that? What about after that? And not to mention, many times the moment you open it up to stock market, they by law they get the power over you. So then what? So it's one of those things. Nowadays, I'm watching your both live streams. Oh, Gyani Prasad, thank you so much. Is piracy stealing, especially games worth 3,000? Yes, of course it is stealing. Of course it is stealing. Like piracy is stealing. It doesn't like see here's the I did work in game studio. If games are not as expensive as they are right now, they could not be made. Like AAA games take a lot of time and effort. Like I worked in a small section of a very large game, and it took me time. It took my whole team time to just get something done. And this has to go on for years before you get even a small game. So trust me, it does take a lot of time. Yes, now let this be very clear. So I would say the game price would be the actual bill of material, the money we get would be 1,500. But here's the nobody will make something and sell you at cost. They have to sell you at profit. So company would be like, hey, you bought a, let's say they paid so much. Let's say they are assuming they're gonna sell 100 million. Let's say they are expecting 1 million units to be sold of their game. So if the bill divided by that million is supposed to be, let's say, 1,500 rupees, they will be like, okay, we'll sell it at 3,000, and during discounts and all that, then they will reduce it to 1,700 or 1,800. Things of that nature happens, but it has to be that way. Like if you're not making profit, what are you doing? Now big companies sometimes get way too carried away, they become way too stupid. That's a different thing. But yes, if you are taking pirating a game, it is stealing. Literally, what you are doing is like reducing the chance of that game studio to survive, especially if it's a small studio. If you are pirating from a large studio, who cares? But from a small studio, like for example, Coffee Stain Studio, it made the game satisfactory. I bought original of it. Another game, Raft. I bought original of that. So in those sort of scenario, I would never recommend pirating. Not to mention their games are far cheaper, so that can be done. Uh, in all farming income is tax free or there any limit? I'm the wrong person to ask about this. I'm very sorry, but this is not my field, tax and all that. Heck, I think this year's tax has not come yet, like for income tax filing. I'm still sorting out my last year's what you call documentation, budgeting as they call it. No, what they call it. There is a word that describes like if you catalog how the heck you spend the money. So I'm still doing that. But thankfully, next year it should be easy simply because I switched from Federal Bank to Bank of India, and Federal Bank does not give me CSV output. Meaning, when I wanted to download the basically month by month, I wanted to download what the hell happened. So in that, I downloaded the transaction history that was in PDF format. Now it's a bank locked PDF format. So even after I remove the PDF, meaning you open it up, then save it, because once you input the password, then you save it, then it removes the password from it. But it was still not digestible. Back in the days, it was digestible. Right click after I have unlocked the password, I would have right clicked, open in Windows, basic Google Docs. It was like, okay, tada, the basically the table. It was like, time, detail, amount, and all that. That was easily translated. I will take from document, dump it into Google Sheet, everything's fine. That stopped working few months ago. Like I would say 8-9 months ago, it stopped working. Then I had to use AI tools to basically break down my bank PDF into actual USB CSV output. So I switched to my bank. Now my new bank, not new bank, new to me, Bank of India, this bank has CSV output directly, meaning I can go inside, select the date range, like let's say I will do for May. So May 1 to, what is the May? Yeah, so I will do from 1 May to 31st May and directly download all the expenditure of the, and then I'll know how much money spent. And because majority of my expenditure happens through UPI, it's super easy to track. Now, of course, I'll still have some cash there, but it's a very small amount transition. And again, I can write it down like, cash for personal use. And again, my CA appreciates that if I can show in a bank document where it's like, hey, this money that I'm writing like cash for personal use. For business, you have to do that. If you show that, it's like, hey, awesome. Like if somebody does an audit on it, they're like, okay, hey, I took this much cash out, this much cash out. So I have a like very easy drop down where I can just like, how much cash? Boom. So that's how I'm doing it. What is the minimum balance limit in your Bank of India account? 1,000 rupees. 1,000 rupees must be there. That's another good thing about Federal Bank. It has zero. Again, I did not open that account. That account was given to me in my last job when I was working as a game artist. I was using it, but like I kind of realized there is a two things pissed me off. First, that CSV output. Second was like they don't have a branch nearby. So if I ever got stuck into some awkward situation where it's like I had to go to branch, it's like yeesh. So switching, I was thinking about it for a year, but like some things happened. I was like, okay, let's not be lazy about it. Let's just get it done. And there was a good timing because tax year is from March to next April. Yeah, March to April. So I worked my ass off to get it done, and April is now again. April month bank statement is messy because it has two bank accounts, but from May to till next year, it will be just one bank account. So that will make my life bit easier. And again, tracking much easier. Now I have learned how to do basically drop down menu, so I can filter our things out very easily. I have considered using a couple of war melodies. Would it make a big difference in video qualities? Depends on the CRI of LED, color rendering index. Your eyes are not good judge of that. You need a you need a spectrograph to actually tell it, but like the easiest way to test is like buy white plastics. Okay, so if you have white plastic plug, things of that nature, basically anything that is white and plastic, buy a few shades of it and take a photo in sunlight, then put a light put it under the LED light and then take a photo. If white becomes too different, that means the color rendering index is poor. That's an easy way of doing it. There is a very good chance you have white doing it. Can you make subsequent video on improving democracy, especially in the election times? See, core problem with democracy is right now all the election system that we utilize is dumb. It's basically for children. It's supposed to be the first past of the post. It should not be used for more than kids. It's like we literally are trying to run a country on system that we know mathematically is messed up. You're supposed to use different, more complex voting system. For example, transfer vote system is a good option. Multiple candidate systems is a good option. Meaning, you create a scenario where it's like, okay, vote. Now, vote is not either this or that. That's a really bad scenario that divides a country. It kabooms a country. You never want that. What you want is like, hey, there are 4 or 5 players now. Why the heck we don't have 4 or 5 players? Because of our voting. Mathematically, it's a known system. But let's say you have a majority win scenario where you, if you have to get, let's say 75% of the vote. Now, like nobody will get 75%. Yes, that's the deal. In the first pass of the post, you only get 51%. But when you have basically multiple options, so what happens is like you have one right party, one left party, one moderate party. So there will be two right and left and two in moderate. So balancing of the moderation would be there. So what they will offer to public is like, hey, I'm completely right, hey, I'm completely left, hey, I'm moderate. So people have to vote like this. It's like, what's my first choice? My first choice is, let's say, left. Another one way, my first choice is right. But here's the, what is your second choice? The second choice will like, okay, you know what, this moderate, let's say there will be 2 players in the moderate era, they will like, okay, A. But let's say 70% of people are like, you know what, my first choice is this, but my second choice is this. So if the second choice wins, I will not be burnt where it's like, how the heck he became president. That will not happen. It will like, hey, perfect option, mild option, really bad option. So you gives options, and this forces at least 4 party system in a country. You do not want 2 party system. It always becomes a dissecting knife where it like dissects a country. And I'm genuinely shocked, appalled by humanity's idiocracy. We knew about this for the past 200 years, and we are still like, what if we use the most basic ass voting system for the most complex system we have on this planet? Wouldn't it be amazing? It's like, oh, now you're wondering why countries are falling apart from the inside. It's like, to be fair, some of the European Union nations have realized to utilize this sort of system where they have first transfer vote, meaning you have to actually be majority. You cannot be like 51%. No, no, no. You have to be majority in order to win. For their mayor election, they are using that sort of system, complex system. You can Google it on EU mayor elections, things of that nature. So those sort of system allows a far more nuanced approach, far more gentle approach, rather than I will boom you, you will boom me, I will boom you, voting for lesser evil. That will not happen. Again, it's not a perfect system, let that be very clear, but it's much better mathematically speaking than what we have right now. And given what we have right now does not work and everybody is angry, everybody is mad, it should be a good time to change. So that's up to you. Yes, you can make a video on this. You can make a video on, like, on what? You removed your last comment, so I do not know what you're talking about. I showed income inequality index to my cousin who's 70 years. First told me that they're all fakes, but how I showed him more facts, he told me that all Hindus, and it's like, then he started abusing. See, this is this is another side effect of this sort of voting system. You literally create partition in a country. You literally split families apart because it becomes so extreme. It has to become extreme. That's the sad part of it. We knew mathematically this is gonna happen. It's like you build a dam on a river, river dries out. Now again, depending on your location, depending how close you are to equator or how far you are from equator and size of the dam, it may be like 150 years, or it may be like generally 30 to 40 years. So that's one of those things, but it was always going to happen. So this sort of divide where people are inside a family, they're like, oh, you voted for them, I will not talk with you. It's like, what the hell? There are women who are like, we're gonna divorce anybody who like votes for. I'm like, what the yef? So that happens. So if that has happened, you have to just let it go. There is no point fighting about it, because again, if your mathematically retarded system is used, output would be retarded. Like there's all saying, like play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Nothing can be changed about that. Like we know this. Like that's the painful part of it. We know this. Like you do this, this is the outcome. Why the heck you are doing it? So that's why, like, do not try to show people the way, because again, it cannot be done, because from their point of view, you'll be the wrong one, and again, from your point of view, they are the wrong one. So you see that's the side effect of having only two options, right or left. You never want that, because again, here's still imagine a car that only moves right. It's useless. Imagine a car that only moves left. It's useless. So you're supposed to be like, the world's supposed to be logical enough where it's like, hey, if we are going in a system, why people insist to be neutral, live neutral, don't disturb nature, but all the civilization, unnatural things like marriage, hobbies. See, we have a very what you call messy relationship where we do not actually show what nature truly is. Nature is cruel. Like if you take our cruelty, compare that to nature's cruelty, nature is like, bitch, please. It's like you are not on the same level. We have a very pampered view of it. And because of that, our insistence from 1970-ish on overpopulation, we demonified human itself. We do not see human as like, hey, this is a young species that is figuring things out, that is trying to do the right thing, trying to learn how to leap from the planet. Because here's the planet is just a lump of rock. One day it's here, tomorrow it won't be there on a cosmic scale. Like sun is here, it won't be there tomorrow. Again, in cosmic scale, it's one of those things that will happen whether we are here or not. The only thing we change is that we continue life. The spark of life we can carry forward. And again, that should be the most uplifting thing. But people are like, oh, the nature. It's like, dude, nature is struggling. Fun fact. Nature is struggling. Fun fact. Nature has done this multiple times before. Let's say people are calling humanity as a sixth mass extinction event. Fun fact. What happened to a last four? Now you may say, okay, one was the asteroid event. Again, that was natural, not man-made. Then what? And another aspect, supermassive volcano. Again, that was from Earth itself, not outer space, not cosmic. Earth itself went kaboom. And then what do you say about that? Another, the first species was basically carbon dioxide based species. So how the heck Earth has oxygen atmosphere? And pay attention to all the planets we have is generally have carbon dioxide atmosphere, because carbon dioxide is stable. How the heck we have oxygen atmosphere? That was the first mass extinction event, where people just like not people as in like microorganism that could basically consume CO2. They did so, but their output was oxygen. They poisoned themselves into extinction. That's the first species, like first mass extinction event. Like we were not even there. Plastics were not even invented. Heck, cellulose was not even invented then, as in like biological cellulose. So you see the point. Like nature is not this magical thing. It's like we are a species. We are the pinnacle of nature's creation, and we are learning. We are a toddler at this point in time. We just realize how to harness energy. Now we are realizing there are consequences to it. Now we are realizing, okay, we have to balance it out. That's normal. That's like expecting a child to like go from pooping in a diaper to like, okay, I can build a country's sewage system. It's like, bruh, that's not how it works. Like you have to learn multiple steps, step by step. So same thing goes there. So that's why. Uh, I really appreciate your job and technical knowledge. I suggest you spell check your presence. I do, generally do. Even NATO is of no use. Define. Again, Putin is scared of it. Every time he's like, NATO expansion, NATO expansion. If NATO is useless, why the heck he is acting like that? Is there any difference between socialism and communism, or just can be we can just use interchangeably? On paper, they are different, but one leads to the another. It's one of those things where it's like messy. It's one of those things. I think Indian youth is becoming more religious, but they don't know anything about Bhagavad Gita and Swami Vivekananda and all that. See, The only thing that defines your future is your birth rate. Because here's the deal, no matter how long you are still a one individual. You're gonna die, right? Like you cannot, like maybe, let's say India becomes very healthy, very energetic, we can live, let's say, 100 years. What after that? So if your birth rate, because again, humans are divided in three sections. One lifespan is 90 year. You have 0 to 30 child, 30 to 60 adult, 60 to 90 old. So you're not supposed to do anything in old. You're supposed to let the steering wheel of your civilization, of your culture go. Young people, basically people who are young should take care of it. But that's not happening. So that creates a very serious divide. So people may act one way, but they will behave on the another way. For example, if you are saying kids are becoming religious, no, they are pretending to be religious. Their behavior is not religious. They are doing it simply because it's noto, not NATO. It's like you wrote both of them. He's talking about NATO, not NATO. Okay, NATO, something different. Can you give the full form? I'm not sure what he's talking about. I'm not sure. Oh, somebody has given donation. Sorry, I missed it. Let me just. It's NATA. Not. I do not know what you're talking about. Anyway, at 7 hours 17 minutes. Devashish, you have given me donation of 11 rupees, 1 rupees extra shagun. Thank you so much. And your remark is for science to technology. Thank you so much. None of the above election. Oh yeah. Okay, okay. Election, none of the above. But that does not mean anything. Now your vote becomes invalid. If you do none of the above, what will it will do? All it will do at worst case scenario, let's say too many people did, not applicable. Then what? The election will happen again. You still will have only two parties. So none of the above does not make any difference. None of the above does not make any difference in the voting. System is childish, for lack of a better word. System is childish. System is. Yeah, no, again, no, if you vote no party, what does it do? At worst, it will force the re-election. Nothing else will happen. You still have only two options. So it's one of those things that it's like, that's why I'm saying, like, it feels like you have choice, you have option. You don't. You don't. It's just like, in Hindi, we have a very amazing saying, ek taraf kuan, ek taraf khai, which simply means like one side is a death, another side is also death. You don't actually have a choice. So same becomes in court system. That's why I said like there has to be moderates as an option. And that cannot be. People are so passionate, so horny on emotions that it cannot be an option. So you have to give them, hey, first option, I will fight for this. First option. Second option, I can tolerate it. That's how you trick people into civilization. Okay, right now what we have is we're tricking civilization into boom boom. That's not good. Okay. Sir, why didn't you discuss your court case in Hindi channel? I didn't discuss it here also. I just don't discuss it because it's a personal thing. It was my sin that I'm suffering for. So it was one of those things. That's why I do not want to discuss it. Option not voting in a candidate in election again. That does not do anything. It's not okay, all of you just talked about the same thing. So okay. Look at the CM of, yeah, he's resigning there because he can become CM again. Again, that's why I don't talk about politics that much. I talk about things that are above politics, basically much larger cultural force, because there is some hope in that layer. But like, if I go into politics, I lose hope. Are old judges any more experienced? No, no, you should not have that. That simply says that in last 30 years, nobody is there to replace you. Like it's a very bad thing for any country. If you say a country that like nobody exists that can run this country in that adult phase, that means the country is lost. Flat out, that means country is lost. It's like, oh, all the children are idiot. It's like, imagine a school principal saying that. It's like, oh, all the kids are idiot. That means you are messing up. You're not doing a good job. One or two could be idiot. Few percentage could be idiot. Majority could be idiot. No. At that point, you messed up. So The population is decreasing all over the world. Will it be easy to travel for other countries in the future? What will be the effect of our space stream? Yeah, space stream will fizzle out because once you have enough population collapse, it creates what we call cascade failures. Japan may be reaching that part very soon right now, and so does South Korea, and so does France, so does Italy. And basically, one day we'll wake up and then it's like, okay, all the space projects are like barely running on any funds, and things will start to happen. Because here's the market is the biggest power in this planet. Okay, market, free market. Now, free market assumes there are buyers. If you do not have buyers, what the hell you do have? So, with time, they will have rotten their brains. What you're talking about? That's the whole thing. Yeah. So because of that lie that population is a bad thing, it had cascading failures. Like we over time, again, it did not happen on day one. Let that be very clear. Do not like, oh, that time did not happen. It's like, again, it takes time. Same way you build a dam, it takes time to dry a river out. It's not like, oh, I built a dam, nothing happened on tomorrow. That means everybody is lying about it. No, wait, wait, apply some discipline. Another aspect, this is one thing that I've seen way too many people talk about, is like they think, I have no idea how the heck this happened. It's like everybody thinks like water going to the ocean, it's a waste of water. I'm like, dude, that's like saying I'm taking water. I drink water. I should not pee because that's a waste of water. That's what's happening. Water is literally going through chemical process, literally going through biological process, and the water is changing in salinity at the other end. It's natural. If you block it anywhere, you may think you are doing a smart thing. It's like, oh, I'm saving the water. No, you're toxifying the water. And once the biological life dies in the water, water cannot handle even a basic human extract like urine. Water cannot digest urine. If it has biological life, it's like, bro, I got this urine. And that's why rivers used to survive. But once you change the sediment disposition, once you change the pH level, once you change the water amount, all of it becomes dire. That point, river turns to sewage. And then it's like, oh, what happened? It's like, that's why, like, this idea that water going to ocean is a waste of water. I'm like, I drink water, I pee. It has to be that way. It's one of those things. It's like fundamentally frustrating. With time, I have no context. Ankit Singh, what you're talking about specifically. My son wants to participate in a science fair competition in USA, age group 17 to 19 hour. If this was your kid, would you suggest something, a wow factor? Like what you have to make, it depends on your budget. Right, like there are a lot of amazing things to build, but like what kind of budget you are, like what is his passion, like if I want to make something very interesting, I may try to make let's say uh, synchronous brushless AC motor or generator. Motor and generator are the same thing. Now, benefit of that is like then you can talk about it. It's like, hey, this is a motor generator. It's like, what's the benefit? There is no magnet. They're like, isn't it the same as induction motor? No, this is synchronous, far more efficient. So, induction motor, let's say 80 to 85%. This puppy will start at 85% and go to 90%. It's a good thing you can build. Like engineering mindset built a very cheap variant of it, very like a what you call a simplified DC motor. You can go much step ahead, and it will be very easy, nice to look at. It would also require you to use some of the switches, so there will be a bit of a like, oh, the dude knows what he's doing. So that could be an option. Another could be vapor refrigeration system. I will try to do that. Hyper Space Pirate has got me interested into that. A very amazing video channel, amazing work, and he actually did what you call cascade refrigeration in his home, achieved minus 100 degrees Celsius. Damn, the dude is damn. So it's one of those things. So yeah, uh, wow factor, I would either go with refrigeration, because here's the funny thing, you do not actually need to use toxic refrigerant. You can utilize propane. And like you're like, isn't that fire hazard? No, the amount is low enough where it's not a hazard. Ah, you can go with that vapor refrigeration. Just look into this channel, what you call Hyper Space Pirate, that channel, and he made a vapor chamber using a refrigeration system. That would be really cool. Whereas like, oh, this is a cool stuff. It can run. This is something that you can show radiation. It's cool. Looking wow factor is awesome there. So that would be there. What about your stock market investment if population collapse? Yeah, cascade failure. That's what we call cascade failure. One thing will break, it will lead to another thing breaking, then another thing breaking. Cascade failure. It's like what happens if all the glacier mates? Cascade failure. You no longer have rivers. You no longer have a proper circulation of the biological life. That shrinks. Then it affects your fishery. Then it affects the water irrigation. Then it affects, like, cascade failure. So the same thing was there. In 2,000 to 3,000 budget. Yeah, yeah, you can do that. That would be really, at that sort of budget, you can actually do that. Please look into hyperspace pirate refrigeration. Again, using propane and butane, it's less toxic. You can even talk about it. It's like, hey, non-toxic. It's like, isn't it flammable? You use cooking gas. You run in a car that may be running on CNG, LNG, propane, butane. So he did amazing work, I would say, and like not too expensive. So you can actually do things like really good things. And because of cloud chamber, it actually looks good. And you, instead of doing with Peltier modules, if you have something that is running on refrigeration, you can actually even have water cooling. So it can actually work for hours. That would be really awesome without consuming too much electricity. Heck, at 2-3 thousand budget, you can even buy uh, DC compressors that does not consume too much power, used for vehicles. Like 24 volts are quite common. 12 volts require too much amps. 24 volt is there, 48 volts is there. You can buy that. Those things will work. How to reduce court judgment time? Again, see, at some point, court just became bullshit. So we are in that phase where it's just bullshit. It's like bullshit for bullshit's sake. So there is nothing to be done. At this point, you let a civilization go. It's like somebody who's wise said this once. It's like a culture, basically a country, if you take, it needs to go through cleansing period. So basically back in the old days, as in like, before 1500s, not even 1500, like let's say 1800s, we always had wars and brutal wars. Like, again, it was not a like world war and all that, but it was brutal enough for that culture, that country. It had to go through resets. Sometimes literally other party will invade and complete reset will happen. So that resets were always like, keeping the bureaucracy. It was like basically trimming a lot of people, but it was also trimming bureaucracy. So the law books were quite refreshed. Because again, new things, new laws, everything has happened. We are no longer doing that. Heck, India at the time of net neutrality discussion, India literally was governed by the rule set that was written for telegrams. And I mean that Morse code telegram. Yeah, that was the rule book that was used by Indian judiciary to govern how the heck internet should be ruled. I'm like, that's how outdated it was. So at some point, it's just like it becomes a decision that culture is actively taking, and because of the people who are in power, they are working there as of to stay in power, rather than it's like, okay, hey, I had a good run, let's say from 30 to 60, I had a good run, I'm out. Like they will do that in every other place, but like they will not do that in basically governmental organization. So that's like, for example, the most sad thing I have heard, I hope it's lie, but I know for a fact that most likely it's not, is that Biden was tried for a, what he call, tried, yeah, he was tried for a court case where he like willingly took top secret documents to home, which he should not. But his deal, they did it, he did that, that's an absolute thing, done, sorted. But his deal, the reason why he's not in jail is because he's too old. I'm like, if the dude is too old to be, governed, basically, whereas like he can break the laws and be like, lol, I'm too old. He should not be in a position of power, like flat out, flat out. So I do not want him to go to jail, but I do not want him in the office. If that is used, but that happened. That happened in USA. I'm like, how the heck that happened? How the heck people are okay with that? But that's happened because of we have a stupid court system. Pardon me, stupid voting system. Because of that absolute brutality, it was like, this is the worst person, this is the worst person, this is the worst person. Like, vote for the lesser evil. That only divides people. So uh, many people who I okay with that is like, yeah, that's a bad thing, but I cannot trust Trump. It's like, you see, that's why it happens. So those are really really messy scenario that we have. Really messy scenario. Let me drink some water. I'm a bit thirsty. Ah, sorry about that. Things were bad. So let's share the wow factor thing. So yeah, I do would okay. Is YouTube losing its charm because of YouTube Shorts? Not losing its charm. Basically, TikTok changed something that should not have been changed. Before TikTok, people were talking about like short attention span, like our attention span was measuring in minutes. Like it's very difficult for young kids now, like kids who are in my age, to give them book and be like, hey, read the book. It's like they cannot read the book. They just cannot read the book. They cannot stay focused enough, long enough to read a book, let alone a whole book. And I'm not even talking like one sitting. Just like try to read the book on your own. Do not force it, on your own. They will not. So That was before TikTok. TikTok, what did turbocharged it. They turbocharged the dopamine cycle too much. So consequences like we are audio wise fried, we are optically fried. So now even YouTube videos are too long. Like 15-minute video, like 5 minute video, 15 minutes video. People are like, hey, the videos is too long, make it short. I'm like, so yeah, that was TikTok's TikTok was really, really disastrous for humanity, like really disastrous. Like it was like literally taking a grenade and forcing it down our throat. It's like no, it was bad. It was really bad. And the fact because it was so successful, when they did remove it from market, let's say in case of India, other companies are like, how about we can create the same poison? So Instagram went with Reels, YouTube went with Short. I do make shorts, but my shorts are scientific and again, not enough views. And consequences, the saddest or part is like creator suffers from it. The amount of views I got on my shorts is exponentially higher than the what I get on my video, but I do not get even single cent. Like it's surprisingly low amount of money I get from shorts. Even the view count is huge. Heck, one of my Hindi channels short became actually my first video to cross million. But the amount of money is like, eesh. How to increase attention span? Well, you have to take step by step actions. Like I did that. Like because of recent turmoil in my life, I decided this year I'll try to read a book. My aim was to read a first one book, and I did. It was a Psychology of Money. It was a really good book. Then I tried to read another book based on my recommendation. It was Nectar of Pain. That was not as great, but I could get. It was written from a woman's point of view, so from a psychological point of view, it was like a good look into the other party. But I would not say it's not worth a read, but like it did not resonate. Let's just put it that way. It's like it's a good song, but it did not resonate with me. I'm reading a third book right now, but once I've done that, only then I'll see. What you think of Gen Z? Please provide the age criteria, as in like year, which year they are born from, because without that I cannot analyze the technological lab. What you call staircase. I need the technological staircase. Without that, I cannot make a sense out of it. I do not remember it. Like back in the day, as I used to remember, it's like, oh, millennial means this means that. Now I've lost it. So if you want more detail on that, it's like I do need years. Everything in 2 to 5 times expensive in West except the PC parts. Why are PC laptops, laptops so expensive in India? It's tax-based system. And whenever you have something like this, it's generally tax. Generally stack. Hello sir, I meet a girl in Valorant. After that we talked to each other after some time. I know that he is studying law in the thing is scaring me. See, if you are dealing with a woman, whatever she does to you would be your own fault because you are going in front. So again, I was in court. I saw a man being slaughtered literally in front of me. It was the most funny thing ever because again, he committed the sin of marriage. He's committed the sin of trusting a woman. He died for it. So it's as simple as that. Like if you're like, hey, this is controlling it. It's like you have to suffer the consequences. You can't complain about it. It's like either go all in. It works. Does not work. Don't cry about it. People who are born between 2000 and 2006. 6 years does not make sense. 5 year I could get it. 10 years I can get it. Why would 6 years? So how old they would be? Gen Z. Gen Z would be 22 years old. 22. 20-ish. Let's just say 20-ish. Yeah. Do you read a book written by your brother, Dr. Avinavatul? No, I do not read romantic books. So it serves no function for me. So every book that I'm reading, I'm trying to improve something. Right now, self-help books are my jam. They are helping me. Like this book was recommended. Psychology of Money was recommended one of my friend, so I read it and it was worthwhile. Another book also, again, my therapist recommended that, so I did read it, and it was interesting. I would not say it was a waste of time. It was poem based only, so it was a bit shocking, but it was good exercise to do. But again, my brother's book is like more of a like love story and things of that nature. That's like it like just it's like if I want fantasy, I'll watch porn. Like I do not need anything. Maybe you should try to make a limited technical videos, 5 minutes or more video editing, and grow your English views. See, English channel. The sole reason I maintain English channel is simply because interaction on this channel is high quality, and I have a feeling if I try to make it into a cheap channel, it will also lose the interaction. It will serve no function. And again, I do not know and want to do those things. I do not want to do those things, and that's how we got into this messed up place. Like literally, those are the things that we did to destroy our attention span, and you want me to go back to that? It's like the reason why I do presentation. It forces you to look into things. It forces you like this is what's happening. You have to listen to me and you have to look at it. And I'm only showing few things. I was like, but does not get view. Yeah, it's like, what can I do about it? It's like, just because everybody is selling you arsenic does not mean I have to sell you arsenic too. 5 minutes left. So what do you think about them Gen Z? Yeah, they are in a messy situation. They are in a messy situation, like really, really messy situation. Actually, I think the generation that is after that would be really worse, because those will be the generation who are what we call iPad kids. They will be in a messed up scenario. I really wish for every Gen Z man to learn, let women go. And if they do not cry about it when you are getting raped in the court. So that's what's one. YouTube guy, fantastic live stream. Thank you so much. Your Hindi is great. How many other language do you know? I only know two languages, Hindi and English. Yeah, I know it's insulting from India's point of view. I should know at least three. But like when I was in South India, problem is when I was in South India, I was in Bangalore. It was a mixed pot of way too many languages. So there was Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, one or two more languages. I don't even remember. Like, there were so many languages. So never even focus it, just English and Hindi. So those are the two languages. But again, for Indian people, it's quite common to know at least two languages. And again, this is one thing that I have seen improved. Even in like rural areas, you can find kids who know very good English. And when I was in Bangalore, even little kids, they were very fluent in their native language and English. So that part, I would say India really did a good job. Like, good job. We did good job on that. And I lucked out simply because I watched too many English videos. Do you think car touch screens are distracting? Nah. Nah. It's like, what are you running on it? And most, like for example, in my Google Drive system, it will not allow me to play a video on that. Like it's designed to be, the only thing that's frustrating to me is like whenever you turn the key on, the radio turns on. Who the heck designed it? Like I want to find that designer and blow him up. Like literally shove an RPG up his ass and blow him up. It's like, who gave up you the idea? It's like, wouldn't it be nice if you just turn the key on and when you are focusing on everything, it's like, dun, dun, dun. Why? Why? That really does bother me. Other than that, everything else is okay, it's normal. People of my age who work with me don't even know how to do simple repairs at home, like changing a faulty switch, repairing cooler taps, etc., calling plumbers, electrician, all of those things. Yeah, see, when I talked about like, are we getting dumber? People talk about like they are doing new things, and I'm still not sure what are these new things are. Because here's the deal, what you're supposed to be is better than your last generation, right? Like if things are going normally, my father would be better than my grandfather, I should be better than my father. That's how it should be, right? Like and my child should be better than me. That's the pace of growth. Now here's the let it be very clear, you cannot know everything a human does. Like this does not have absolute capacity and it's not growing. Now early years it was quite easy, because once we actually improved the nutrition, this actually started to flex its muscle. So it was not flexing its muscle quite well before like industrial revolution, but after industrial refrigeration, quality food, quality nutrition, we had an expansive period where it's like, whoa, people are like, whoa. So that whoa period happened just after World War II. Magically we knew technology, magically we knew medicine, magically things started to grow. So we had a lot of growth. After that, right now, current generation, I'm shocked, like what do they know? Because yes, we had a period where our kids went from kids in Bangalore not good in grammar, writing, or reading. Again, are you a school teacher? How would you know that? How would you know? They speak well though. Again, that's half of the equation. Because yes, the majority of humanity dealings, like in adult life, is man to man. If you can take care of that, that part is very good. You speak so fast in live stream compared to your regular videos. This is real time. You are seeing it live. I'm not talking fast. This is live, right? Like you can hold on. You can watch the clock. I'm not speeding up the system. Like, hey, yeah, see, real time clock. I'm not talking fast. Why most Indians don't use fiber or most mobile data, which is expensive? What do you think? It's simply a matter of access. It's a matter of access. Here's the deal. In mobile phone right now, we are in a position where very comfortably you can pay fixed amount, let's say 2000 or 3000 rupees for a year, and you will get 1 GB to 2 GB data per day. You're already paying for it. But a fiber connection is an expensive thing, and not to mention not available everywhere. So not everybody has it. Like, I have fiber access. Many households near me have fiber access, but not every. So it's just a matter of access. And if you are already paying for one thing, why would you pay for another thing? And many people do not value high speed, high reliability internet as much as you would think. So it's one of those things. Yeah, coming back to the kids part, that is the thing that worries me about this. It's like if any of you have an answer, please do tell me. It's like, what do modern kids can do that I could not do. Again, it's not that I am great and all that. I'm the dumbest person of my generation. Let that be very clear. But here's the what is their stuff? Because here's the my generation before me, they were very good with mechanical stuff and somewhat with electrical. So I became good with mechanical and electrical and electronics. So I had to learn what is a router, how do you configure a router. Like literally, I have a, fiber geo fiber router here, like right there, and then it goes to using Ethernet going into my second floor where I have another router. I have configured it so I can use it as a access point, and everything is fine. Everything is dandy. But here's the do you think today's 15, 20 years old kid can just do it or even follow a YouTube tutorial? That's the scary part to me. It's like they just don't. And Linus Tech Tips talked about a very good point about this. It's like technology when I was young was not robust. It was like you had to work with it. It was finicky. Drivers were not like right now. I do not. I find it odd if I have to restart. After installation. Back in the old days when I first touched computers, it was like, oh, you installed a new software, restart. You installed a new driver, restart. Everything required restart. Now restarts are a rare thing. You can skip it also. Many times company people will ask you, hey, please restart, but it's not like mandatory. But back in the day it was mandatory, so it was one of those things. Can car touch screen information be hacked? See, any electronic device can be hacked. That's law of physics. You cannot bypass it. The question is how easy it is, or how, and ideally in case of car you would want somebody to get physical access to your car, only then it should be able to hack. It should not be like remote hacking. If it has remote hacking level weakness, then yeah, we did. Oh, sorry, somebody has donated and I did not talk about it. I do apologize. I do apologize. Rohit, you have donated 14 rupees. Thank you very much. Nice hairstyle. Ouch. Thank you. Okay. Broadband service is still not available in my village. Yeah, that's a very common thing. Not every single location has broadband, and not to mention cheap broadband. So it is one of those things. Anyway, 1 hour is up. I will see you guys next week. Please do watch my shots. It do help. At least the reach improves. So see you guys in the next week. I'm reminded as if you install pieces of software. 20 floppy disks. Dude, 20 floppy disks. What were you installing, my man? What were you installing? Yeah. My car have over the air updates. Yeah, you did. Okay, anyway, bye guys. Thank you so much for a good interaction and interesting questions. I will see you guys next week. Bye.